The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today for our webinar series. My name is Syria Kresser. I am a sales executive for the SWK Time and Billing Solutions team, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all today. Today, I'll also be joined by Mark Janicek, our Director of Time and Billing Solutions, and we will be talking about how to make your billing process more efficient and accurate with our time and billing product. Our line of time and billing solutions has a long history in the Sage 100 marketplace. They were previously published by Hightower Inc. And today we want to talk about how these solutions can help professional services companies bill customers for their time and expenses, our future plans for this product. And we want to introduce to you our new solution, which is Time and Billing Intelligence, which is a critical component for data analysis. We also have some exciting news and ongoing promotions to share with you at the end of this presentation. So stick around to hear more of these amazing opportunities. Just a few housekeeping items. All lines will be muted during the presentation. We will record and distribute the webinar to you in a few days for your convenience. And if you have any questions, please type it in the chat box at the bottom of your GoToWebinar sidebar, and then hit send question to staff at any time during the webinar. Just to let you know, we will be answering to all of these questions at the end of our presentation. Without further ado, let's get started. So basically, like I said, we want to talk about what is time and billing. Why time and billing? So time and billing, as well as Timekeeper and TBI, are a well-rounded suite of solutions that enhance the capabilities and functionalities of your Sage 100 system, right? So think of it as applications that facilitate and simplify the way in which you can enter time seamlessly into your system, as well as billing your clients for the projects and the time spent. So having said that, I want you to stop thinking of time as a resource that is out of your control, because our time and billing solutions help you develop time management skills that can help you to focus your attention on what really matters in your organization. To narrow it down in simple terms, I'm going to have Mark explain a little bit more on how all of our modules are tested to work with our Sage 100 system.
Thank you, Syria. Once again, my name is Mark Janicek. I'm the Director of Time and Billing Solutions. I'm happy to be joining you today. You know, in simple terms, as Syria pointed out, I mean, think of it as tracking time, billing time, and analyzing time. And so, like, collecting the time from your employees, billing the customers for that time and expenses, and then having the opportunity to really analyze how your employees spent their time and how those projects were accomplished. So, talking a little bit about the portfolio, some of these products have been around. I should say, Time and Billing Professional and Time and Billing Standard and Timekeeper have been available for many years. Time and Billing Intelligence is a new product. So just to give people a little bit of an update, all these modules have been updated and tested to work with Sage 100 2018. And what I mean by that is, as Sage releases new Sage 100 service packs, we of course test along and make sure that these solutions are fully working with those new service packs. So if you go to the Time and Billing Solutions website, you know, timeandbillingsolutions.com, on our download pages for each one of these solutions, we also include and continue to maintain a list of the service packs that everything's been tested with, so you know that things are compliant with what you have. So once again, not only is that there, but the downloads are there. And also our Time and Billing Intelligence product is also available now. So you'll find downloads for Time and Billing Professional, Time and Billing Standard, and Timekeeper, as well as Time and Billing Intelligence. And talking a little bit about Time and Billing Professional, just to give you an overview, Time and Billing Professional is a billing mechanism. It pretty much opens up Sage 100 for professional services companies, so they could record time and bill those times and expenses that they incur on behalf of clients. So you can create, you have your clients, you create projects that you're going to be working on. All that is, managed through Time and Billing Professional, and it's integrated with Sage 100 AR, which we'll talk about in just a moment, so that there's a client and one is a client and the other. But it's mainly targeting what we'll call professional service companies, people like attorneys, consultants, accountants, engineers, generally people who have, engagements that they're working on behalf of clients that they're billing their time for. As mentioned, these modules are fully integrated, and when I say integrated, and embedded in Sage 100. So that means a couple of things. One, you're looking at a module that is it's written in the same programming language and uses the same database in the background as Sage 100, so it has a very common look and feel, and it's something that you're used to. If you're used to Sage 100, you're used to the user experience that these products bring, but also because it's all fully integrated, it shares common data. And by common data, what I mean is if you have a customer in your in Time and Billing Professional, that customer is also in your accounts receivable module, for example, in Sage 100. You don't have to double entry things. It integrates with multiple other Sage 100 modules, such as General Ledger, Accounts Payable, Accounts Receivable, depending on what you're trying to accomplish for your particular requirements. But just note that it does require the Accounts Receivable module. And I'm bringing that up because Time and Billing Standard did not. Time and Billing Professional does, but there's a lot of advantages to doing that. As mentioned, there's the whole simplified reduction of double entry, easier to maintain it, and things of that nature, and getting a more holistic view. Because remember, if you're selling clients, goods out of Sage 100, and you're selling, time from Time and Billing, that's all going to get into their AR module to give you a holistic view of their account and to truly see what types of services or what types of things your clients are actually buying from you from a more holistic view. Siri will cover a couple of the feature highlights for Time and Billing Professional.
That is correct. Thank you, Mark. Like Mark was saying, this is a very nice application. All of our enhancements, like you said, are embedded into the software with your Sage 100 system, so you don't need to be jumping from one side of the screen to the other side of the screen to enter any of the data that you have going on. Some of the highlights for our Time and Billing Professional module is, yes, you can enter bill for and report on time and expenses. Yes, you can also support up to 10 different billing rates. This is very important, and I often get asked this question. You can also have the capability to do WIP reporting. It does support custom billing formats and terms for clients, budget, project billing rates, and things like that. And again, like Mark was saying, it is fully integrated with Sage 100 Accounts Receivable. So if you already have the module of Accounts Receivable, or you are considering getting Accounts Receivable, this is a module for you.
Thank you, Siri. Just to go over a couple of things with Time and Billing Professional, there is a we mentioned a framework earlier. So Sage 100 a number of years ago, the concept of framework is just a different architectural design. And we're in the process of actually migrating this solution to that generation 2. We call it generation 2, so it works with framework. What that really means is that it will truly, right now, Time and Billing Professional supports standard and advanced versions of Sage 100. If you're using the SQL edition, once we've got this moved to the framework, it will fully support the SQL edition, which is the premium version of Sage 100. It has full support it'll also include full support for paperless Office, so you can produce electronic documentation for your clients right out of the solution. Once again, it's available right now as a non-framework version for Sage 100 version 2018 and earlier. It does require the Accounts Receivable module, and it does support the non-SQL editions as of today. So the solution is available. But what we have is going to replace this in the next couple of months. In fact, we're getting ready to beta this solution in the next probably month or so. We'll start to request some beta testers if people are interested to see how the new version is, if they're on current releases. Just a couple of things that you're going to see if going from, this, in addition to what's been in Time and Billing Professional before, there's a host of things that are going to come along with this new framework edition that we're coming out with. Full support for extended customer numbers, a truly updated time and expense entry process. So in the past, you had fields where you enter time and then it populated the grid for the time that or expenses that were recorded. Now what you will see is the grid is both the data display and the opportunity to enter time and expenses. It's going to have the security for the modules going to be fully integrated with Sage 100 role maintenance, so that your security is handled where it is for all other Sage modules. It's all in one place now. We redesigned the batch processing, the batch posting process, so that it mimics how other Sage modules do batch postings. All of the reports, there was a mixture of non-graphical and graphical reports. They've all been fully replaced with, true crystal report templates that you can customize. Support for Sage 100 Premium Edition, hence the SQL Server databases that we talked about before. Paperless Office, Custom Office, so you can once again adjust things to your liking and your data entry process, as well as support for hyperlinks to master files that are used in other places in Sage 100. So it's going to bring a number of true benefits when we come out with the Framework Edition, just beyond something that's in the newest technology. There's going to be a lot of gains that are made with this release. And now we're going to talk a little bit about Timekeeper. And this module, of course, is slightly different. It allows you to collect your time from your employees, but I'll allow Syria to explain more a bit about some of its capabilities and its value that it can bring to your business.
Thanks, Mark. Yes, like Mark was saying, if you have, or if your company is billing your clients for time that they spent on projects, then you know how frustrating it is when your employees are submitting their time and it's not correct, or you have to manually enter manually their time back into your system. So Timekeeper is also an embedded module, right? So it's part of your Sage 100 menu. And basically allows you and your employees to enter the time on a project while they're in the office, and also, very exciting, while they're out in the field, because this is very important as well. If you have your employees working out of the office, but they need to enter their time, and you want to make sure that it is entered accurately, efficiently, with no mistakes, then we do have several options for Timekeeper where you can enter your time. Again, you have the ability to enter it while you're in the office via Sage 100. You can also enter it even when you're in the office as well, remotely via a laptop, or if your employees or yourself, you're working on a project on site remotely and you need to enter your time, you can do that via the web. So again, it reduces the time to bill, and you can also transfer all of your time to payroll and job costs, because they integrate with job cost, payroll, sales order, accounts receivable, and it also integrates, of course, with our module of Time and Billing Professional.
And then from a just once again, it's an integrated module, as Syria said. So one of the things to point out here is not only, as Syria pointed out, that it works with Time and Billing Professional or even Time and Billing Standard, but it also works, you could use this module outside of Time and Billing purposes. For example, like if you wanted to collect time just for payroll purposes, so that you're collecting it from your employees. And there's an approval process as well that allows you to, validate that time before you actually push it to payroll or to Time and Billing Professional. And also job cost, if you want to track time, your actuals against budgeted time, or even sales order. And so if you're thinking about it from a sales order, if you're thinking about it from a sales order perspective, sales order could be used if you are a company that's using time and billing professional, excuse me, timekeeper in a services industry. So as I mentioned, we tend to focus on, with time and billing professional, on professional services companies like I mentioned, like attorneys, lawyers, and whatnot. But then at the same time, if you're a services company, like say you do HVAC work or you do some sort of work where not only are you billing for your time, but you have to put inventory items on a bill, you can do that with this solution by collecting the time with Timekeeper and then integrating it with sales order so that the time goes on the sales order along with the parts that you, or the items that you sold to the client. So there's, some ways, there's some different ways for us to tailor these solution sets to meet your individual needs. Also, the current framework, this one is currently a framework module, and it is currently available for Sage 100 version 2018 and earlier as well. As mentioned, there's multiple ways to enter time with the solution. Syria mentioned this briefly, but just a couple of examples here. The Timekeeper module is fully integrated and embedded in Sage 100. So if you are a Sage 100 user, you actually can open up Sage 100 and access the interface to enter time from there. You could also, there's also an opportunity to use this outside of Sage 100. So in an example of when you have clients who are, when you have employees who are working in the office and they need to enter time, but they're not necessarily Sage 100 users, they have access to this interface outside of Sage 100 to go ahead and submit their time entries, and it all goes to the same place. So think of it as, some people need access to the financial system and they can access it that way. Other people, you just don't even want them to know there's a financial system in the background, and this is just collecting the time for a billing manager or a payroll manager to then use once it's been imported. The other thing to note about this is that there's also online and offline mode. And what that means is, let's say that network workstation is actually a laptop. What we can allow you to do is that network workstation, when it's in-house, it's all live time. It's getting your client data, like your clients and projects, right from Time and Billing Professional when you're in-house. But then what happens is once you go off-site, like you're going to go work because you have a business trip to a client site or something like that, you can put it in offline mode. And what it does is it uses a subsample of data. You collect your time. When you come back into the office, it'll sync that time back up. Also, we have what we call Timekeeper Web. So Timekeeper Web is an add-on module that requires something called PX Plus. PX Plus is an add-on tool that allows you to self-host the solution on your website. And what you can then do is there's a web interface that you could run through a browser. It's cross-platform, meaning you could have one of your employees could be using a Mac. There's even a picture there of it running in the background. That background picture is that running on Linux or Windows or any web browser, quite frankly, that can pull open the interface from wherever location you are. You'll be able to enter time. And it'll run, as I said, on cross-platform, so you see a picture there of it running on an iPad. So people could enter time over the web using an iPad, using a web browser, or any device basically that with a web connection to your web server. So we're going to talk a little bit about time and billing intelligence and give you an idea of what this module can do. This module is essentially made for business owners or project managers or practice managers to understand the status and backlog of projects and employees. So think of it as, like you've got people working on the specific projects, but as a business owner or as a project manager, you need insight into how that project is going. What I mean by that could be backlog data of how busy employees are. It could be understanding a project, how much of a budget's been used, how much work's been done for a particular client. the reporting, there's reporting in Time and Billing Professional, for example, but this takes this to a whole nother level. And what we're providing here, this module actually does sit outside of Sage 100, but it allows you to essentially, it pulls the data out because we author Time and Billing Professional and Time and Billing Standard, and we're able to pull that data set out and let you do deeper analysis. So I like to emphasize it's not data, it's information. We've arranged this information into 6 predefined dashboards and 6 data entry views. The distinction there is a dashboard is a graphical representation. It might include, depending on what that data is, pie charts, spark lines, things that show you activity, or it could even be something that like a data view, which is where you get a list of data, so like a WIP listing. It'll show you all of the WIP that's open right now. You can then filter that WIP down into individual clients or individual projects. And you can even then export that data out to Excel. For example, if you wanted to do like what-if analysis or manually manipulate data so that you could see, what the scenario would look like if you had a different billing rate or something like that. It helps people better manage engagements because each engagement has detailed views that allow you to see recent activity, project budget remaining, backlog. It helps you better manage your employees because you can see exactly what they're working on and how their time is being allocated. It helps you better service your clients because when clients call, you now have a much more holistic view. You can see the client's work, like the project you're working on, and not only see that budget information, but we've been able to pull in, for example, open invoice information. So a client might call you and say, listen, what's going on with my project? I feel like we're behind, and you can actually see what the status looks like and where you actually are with the project, as well as, oh, but by the way, these 3 invoices we sent you remain open. It's all available through Time and Billing Intelligence. And understand, too, that a lot of the data in the views is available for drill downs, meaning you could see, let's say you see a time entry, you can drill into it and see more details about it. Or if you've got a project, you open the project, you see the specific time entries associated with the project. And once again, it's information for your business. So we've worked hard to provide from feedback, what the most applicable things are that that project managers are looking for from Time and Billing Professional, Time and Billing Standard, for data-wise. But that data is all, those views are, those dashboards are customizable, as are the views. You can change columns that show in views and resort things or hide columns, and dashboards, you can add different controls to them. And also, too, the data source for those dashboards can be, the data source of those dashboards can expand past Time and Billing Professional and Time and Billing Standard. We've built that out of the box to provide the most required solutions or solutions that people look for. But if there's something unique to your company that you needed to see, unique dashboards can be added, or dashboards can be tweaked, meaning you could add different controls. But that data set that we're reporting on could be any data that comes out of Sage 100, or you could even, if you had an external database somewhere that you wanted a dashboard for, it could accommodate such a scenario where you wanted additional reporting of that outside data set. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Sirius, who's going to discuss a little bit about some of the benefits of Time and Billing Intelligence.
Thank you, Mark. Like Mark mentioned, what you're looking at right now on the screen is a very neat screenshot of what the application looks like once you install it on your machine. It is a very user-friendly application, meaning it's a very easy to deploy application. It will pull out all of your data from your Time and Billing and your Time and Billing Professional module, because it does work with both. You can build pivot tables like Excel, so you get an idea what it looks like. And also, if you are a current user of Crystal reports, if you're running Crystal reports and you're familiar with them, the reports are very similar to it, so you get an idea what they look like. They have a drag and drop functionality, which I like, because again, it's a very customizable application. It has also a wizard, and it has many other tools where you can manipulate and customize your data. It is a very neat application. I do recommend it to all my clients when I'm talking to people because at the end of the day, you do want to know where your profitability, your losses in your company, if you want to have a better view of it, as you see it on the screen, it even has color, so it's nothing boring, black and white. You can customize it to see whatever it is that you need to look at. So yeah, I really encourage it. If you do own time and billing right now, give me a call. I will be more than happy to show you a live demo of it, or if you even want to deploy it on your system and play around with it, I promise you, you are going to love it. So moving on with our time and billing intelligence, which is an amazing module and is new to our family. Let's talk about the fun stuff, our current promotions and what we have going on right now, because I know everybody has been waiting for those. Time and billing intelligence is a special offer. So now that we're talking about TBI, I want you to know that if you currently own time and billing or time and billing professional and you're current with your maintenance, you can receive 20% discount on a new license. That is an amazing news. And again, that's something that you don't want to pass on. And if you are interested, I do encourage you to call me or email me. And also, let's talk about a time and billing professional migration. What does this mean? It means that if you have a standard time and billing and you want to move on to time and billing professional, you can take advantage of doing this right now. Why? Before the release to the framework. So again, contact me to discuss this upgrade to your time and billing professional. Let's talk about why should we migrate, or this is one of the questions that I often get asked. Why do I want to migrate to time and billing professional? Well, obviously, if you are using a standard time and billing, you'll know that, first of all, the feel and the look of both is going to be the same. So you'll be able to experience a much familiar feel to it, per se. Also, you can now integrate your time and billing professional with accounts receivable, like Mark explained earlier. So you can allow for department credit memos on the time and billing professional where you cannot have this functionality in a standard time and billing. And also, cash receipts can now be done in the main entry screen of accounts receivable and time and billing professional, of course. You know, going from time and billing to time and billing professional is a change, and we know it. And change is hard. But taking advantage of this upgrade now and the better functionality, it shouldn't be. And we are here at SWK, we're confident that your company can benefit from upgrading to time and billing professional. So if you believe this is a good time to upgrade your system, or also if you're on the fence about upgrading, please call me. We can discuss your options. At the end of the day, I mean, we want to ensure that your company can make the change as smoothly as possible, right? And let's move on to a very exciting news, which is our subscription pricing. That is correct. Our modules are now available to all of our Sage 100C users that are already current with a subscription. So if you would like to obtain more information, or if you want to quote on this subscription model for your Sage 100 subscription plan, please make sure to contact me. This is very exciting, and I have been asked about this many times, so I can't wait to talk to you and give you more information. And also just a reminder, as you already know, and if you don't know, this is a good time for you to jump on the Twitter wagon and follow us. We are at SWK TV Solutions. We try to update all of our clients with the current information, release of the framework, subscription plan, any new additions, webinars, etc. So make sure to follow us with that. I want to thank Mark for showing off our SWK Time and Billing Solution Suite. Before we begin the question and answer section, if you have any additional questions after this segment, please feel free to email me. My email address is cydia.kresser@timeandbillingsolutions.com. And let's jump on board and see what questions came in for our Q&A. Again, make sure that you can submit your questions on the right side of the screen on the chat portion of it. We do have a question right now, and it says, do I need to have time and billing professional or timekeeper, or actually time and billing standard to use timekeeper? And the answer is no. You do not need to have one to run the other.
That's correct. As I mentioned earlier too, you can also use Timekeeper as more of a standalone solution if you just wanted to use it for payroll collection, like collecting time or against job costs, or even if you want to use it outside of Time and Billing Professional to do more of, like I said, service type work and want it to attach the time to sales orders so you could bill with items that you're selling to your clients.
Correct. Thank you, Mark. We do have another question. Again, make sure, there is not such thing as a bad question, so you make sure that you submit whatever question you may have. We do have another one. It's a very important one, actually. Can you explain how Timekeeper licensing works? There's a difference between device licenses versus user licenses from Sage 100. Mark?
Sure. So basically, with our Time and Billing Professional module, that works within Sage 100. Timekeeper, as I showed you, could work in Sage 100 or outside of Sage 100 as a desktop app, so that people don't need to be using Sage 100. So because of that, because it can be used in different ways, we license it by what's called device licenses. So a device license basically means if you are a user and you want to use Timekeeper outside of Sage 100, that's a device license. But let's say you also that same user wanted to use it over the web, that would be a second device license. So essentially it's not just by the user license, it's a number of ways you want to connect. So, but what that does is it opens up the flexibility of the solution, right? So because you can now, buy, like, if you have Time and Billing Professional and you had 100 people for whom you're billing, you're paying one rate for Time and Billing Professional, but the individual timekeepers outside of Sage 100, you're buying, just the timekeeper licenses you need to collect time. So it's a separate model, but it does allow for you to essentially license the solution for how you need to use the solution.
Very good. We do have another question right here. Hang on, let's see. Is there a place in Timekeeper of Time and Billing Intelligence to put budget for every engagement that we can compare the actual with?
In Time and Billing Intelligence, actually, it pulls the budget. So in Time and Billing Professional, there's a place to define a budget for the specific project. Time and Billing Intelligence will pull that budget number over so that when you're looking at the project in Time and Billing Intelligence, it knows what the budget was assigned to the project, and then it can compare the hours and show you what's left, or if you're going over. And it's also nice too in that reference because there's screens that will show you, for example, not only are you like reference to budget, it'll show you here's a list of projects that are under budget, on budget, over budget. It'll also show you the projects with no budget, so you realize what you have to go back and fix. It'll also highlight, there's a threshold that you can set. It'll highlight when a project is getting close to hitting budget, so that you're aware that, wait a minute, because often that seems to be the case sometimes, well, I shouldn't say often, but you find in certain projects that, that a lot of work comes at the very end. It's good to understand where you are, and it's warning you ahead of time that you're getting close to the edge of the budget, and so that you don't go over budget, or you can discuss with the client ahead of time where your project stands before billing them for time that they're not expecting. So it helps with, customer relationships that way.
That's a great question. Thank you so much, Mark. We have another question just came in. Does Time and Billing Intelligence work with Time and Billing Standard or only with Time and Billing Professional?
That's a great question. So it actually works with both, but there's one caveat that I wanted to highlight. The solution works the same for both Time and Billing Professional and Time and Billing Standard. The one difference between the two is that if you are using it with Time and Billing Standard, it includes everything that's, it does the same functionality, but there's one view that it does not include, which is we have one view in there that provides a summary of where your revenue is coming from. So it'll actually put up a map of the United States, for example, and it will show you based on the client's location. But this is where people are working. So like the dot will get bigger on the screen depending on the revenue. So like if you've got, you know, $20,000 from this project in Chicago, and you've got, you know, 300,000 from this project during that period of time in Miami, of course there's a larger dot over the Miami area. So, and the idea of that view, or I should say that dashboard, is to just help you understand where's my revenue coming from. That can help with staffing questions. It can help with, you know, just understanding maybe marketing questions, like where do you want to invest your time and money, because that's where you might find other clients. But nonetheless, to the original question, that view is only available with Time and Billing Professional, but and not in Time and Billing Standard, but everything else is identical.
Very good. Thanks, Mark, again. We do have another question. Do you have a scheduling software that can work or integrate with Time and Billing?
Currently, that's not available. Like, we don't have a solution for that, but that is something that we're looking at for Time and Billing Intelligence. We're at some point not, because as I mentioned before, I mean, I don't want to say that it's, you know, an immediate thing, because it's not. But what we hope to do in the near future is, because it can handle backlogs and understand what, you know, and outline for you what your employees are working on, we would love to add scheduling utilities to, or scheduling functionality to it, to add that next layer. But at the moment, in full candor, no, we don't have a solution for that, and I'm not aware of something that integrates with Time and Billing Professional, or with, you know, that could get added on to Time and Billing Intelligence that would accomplish that.
Great, thank you again. These are all great questions, everyone. Please keep them coming. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask. Like I said before, there's no such thing as a bad question. But if you feel like you want to talk to us privately, or you want to have a conversation with myself or even Mark, just feel free to reach out to us. Again, you can email me at cyria.kresser@timeandbillingsolutions.com, and that information will be the end of the screen. I don't think we have any more questions so far. So I guess that concludes our webinar today. We really want to thank you so much for attending. Again, we want to make sure that you contact us, that you follow us on Twitter. Any questions, anything that you need from us, if you need pricing, if you need to know more information about the subscription plan, feel free to reach out. And also, I just want you to know that we are often hosting different type of webinars. So look out for the next webinar, which is going to be on February 7th. It's called The Only Year Beginning Guide to Strategic Workforce Planning You'll Need. It sounds appealing, so make sure that you stay tuned. If you want more information, again, feel free to email me. I'll be more than happy to provide you with more information on that. Thank you so much again for attending our webinar, and we'll hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye, everyone.